Okay, great. Namaste, everyone. Today we are here for a interesting talk. So I have with me Dr. Aditya Togi and myself, Dr. Kanholy Santhip Krishnan. So we are here today. We'll actually talk about. It's a topic which I've been wanting to talk for a really long time. So I've not made a video on like a specialized topic for some time, at least for a couple of years at least. So I thought it will be a very interesting topic. So today the topic is going to be, we're going to talk about temples and your birth chart actually. That's something we'll talk about. Now, so Aditya and I are coming from India. Most of you are also from India and all that. So, I want to give that kind of a context also. So in India in general, at least you have this simple idea that if you have a problem, if you have a problem in your life, you go to temple, then at least you'll get some good things coming out of it, right? So especially,
So, Sandeep,
yeah,
again, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, great. I should have introduced you, but I don't know, but that's okay.
yeah,
Uh, so temples, first of all, explain what is a temple, and then also tell us, many people tell us, oh, they went to this temple and then something bad thing happened to them, or good thing happened to them, or many times bad thing. Why this God is doing this? Just went to the temple and all.
right.
Is it
Well,
really going to a temple, creating some bad karma, or I know we all said it's good karma and all, but then how do you explain this? And we were having a discussion. I thought that will
yeah,
be some few days back.
yeah,
That would be a good point to discuss maybe and put forward that point and and share it with others probably.
yeah. No, that's a very good point. So let's start with that. Actually, that's a good. Yeah, thank you, Aditya, for the question also. So a very important topic actually. So as Aditya was mentioning, why do some people get good results when they go to a temple, whereas why do some people get problematic results when they go to a temple? It's a very interesting thing to think about actually, astrologically at least. So remember, Jyotisha is the science of karma. So you can actually see your karma getting evaluated or getting described using Jyotisha much more easily. Now, in the science of Jyotisha, karmas also can be predicted much more easily using the grahas and so forth and all that. Now, here's the thing. Actually, each of the temples which you find now is a temple is the place where a god is worshipped. Now, in at least in Vedic religion, we are actually not worshipping Nirgun Brahman. We are worshipping a particular Murti or a particular Devata. So there is a difference between a Devata and Brahman, or the Ishwar as it's called. So Ishwar is Nirgun. He has no guna. But a Devata is Sagun, has a particular guna. So when you go to like goddess Durga temple, you can see that the energy of goddess Durga is going to be very similar to Rahu energy. That is a guna of goddess Durga. Very 10 hands, riding a lion, capable of defeating very strong energies. At the same time, when you go to a Krishna temple, Krishna is more benign, very sweet, very Soumya, very sweet energy. So he is considered to be the Vishnu's avatar linked with the Graha of moon. So that energy is also like moon. Krishna himself had exalted moon. It was Rohini Nakshatra, which was Krishna's moon actually, which his moon falls in Taurus sign. So without doubt, you can say that Krishna's energy is much more sweeter than Durga's energy. Now Durga is a Rajoguna Devata, but whereas Krishna is definitely like you can say a more at least Sattva is strong with Krishna. You can say that can be said. Now, having said so, the different avatar of Vishnu, which is Narasimha. Narasimha is considered to be the avatar of Vishnu, linked with the Graha Mars. Now, Mars is Narasimha. The story of Narasimha is that he showed up around this time with the claws and so forth. He literally tore up Hiranyakashipu trying to protect, Prahlad and all that. So he's carrying Mars energy. So when we go to a Narasimha temple, we are approaching a god or goddess, god carrying a Mars energy actually. Whereas when you go to a Krishna temple, we are approaching a god carrying moon energy. When we go to Durga temple, we are going to a goddess carrying that Rahu energy very strongly. So this is the first thing. So correspondingly, there are the other temples also. So sun is usually linked with Shiva. Shiva is always seeing everything. So usually sun is linked with Shiva. Moon is Krishna. Moon can be mother goddess also. All the Devis and so forth. Parvati is also considered to be moon actually. Gauri as she's called. Mars is a Hanuman and Murugan and all that, we can see. But to answer Aditya's question, it's a very interesting thing. Now, say we approach temple as a place where we go there, we make a prayer, we make a request, and then the God fulfills the request, and we come back. Or maybe the blessing we get from the temple, and then after that, we live our lives like that. Now, what actually happens though, something interesting that actually happens in a temple to think about is that, so makes you think. So then when you're going to one particular temple, you are actually getting more quick results and so forth. You make any prayer, all the prayers are getting easily answered. Whereas some temples, when you go, you might have problems there actually. Even approaching that temple itself is having a problem. You're having your car breaks down, some work issue shows up, and you had to postpone your temple travel, things like that. So that is also something worthy to think about. Why is that some temples are having very smooth kind of journeys for you? Why is that when you go to one temple, you feel very good, everything is very smooth there, and whereas when you go to some other temple, you're having always problems also. That is also a better way to approach the same question also, which Aditya asked. So that is the starting point. Now, the answer is very simple. Depends upon your own karma. So if you have good karma with Krishna, you are a devotee of Krishna and all that for a long life, multiple lifetimes, you are serving Krishna, you were engaged in Krishna Aradhana for multiple lifetimes. You were taking care of Krishna's festivals and all that. You volunteered in Krishna's thing for multiple lifetimes. You sponsored a temple, created a temple for Krishna or whatnot in past lifetime. Now you, in this lifetime, when you go, you already have good karma with Krishna. So your karma with Krishna becomes is very easy. So when you go to Krishna temple, it's super easy. No issues on that front and all that. No one is pushing out of the line. No security guard is creating problems, nothing like that. Very easy problem. Easily you are getting that darshan and coming back, as it's called. Now, say you have a problematic karma with Narasimha. Say in one lifetime, you are like Islamic invader. Or you even, let's don't go that far actually. Let's just start off with simple thing. You harmed a Narasimha deity, a Narasimha devotee. So you had, in one lifetime, you are a money lending person, and then you gave some money to someone, but this person was a Narasimha devotee. You are willingly harm this person, out of greed or avarice or something like that. And then now when you go to a Narasimha temple, now Narasimha is like, the Narasimha's energy is like, you have not supported this my devotee, you created harm against a devotee. Now of course the devotee, when they experience harm, he's going to Narasimha and pray, okay, I have experienced harm, please help me out. Now the devotee might have made that prayer to Narasimha and then he leaves, but when you go to the same temple now, you are seeing that unexpected problems are coming up. Your car breaks down, work comes up, some emergency happens and so forth and all that. So it's not like Narasimha is wanting to give you problems. It's more like your karma with that Narasimha energy or that Mars energy is having problems. That's the reason why. So sometimes when you go to a particular temple, your karma with that particular god's energies could be having problems. Now again, I mentioned for Narasimha is linked with Mars. I mentioned the issue of debt. I also mentioned the issue of siblings and all that. So, or a friend, or a protection of land and all that. If your Mars energy is good in your chart, you will begin to find that when you go to a Narasimha place or a Mars energy temple place, you will see the experience is very smooth. Whereas if your Mars is having afflictions, Saturn, Rahu and all that, experience can be very challenging. Along the way itself, you are going, then there are interruptions happening and so forth and all that. Now this logic, so ideally we have to look at temples as not just a place of, at least astrologically, you can add one more perspective with regard to temple, which is to not to look at temples just as a place where you offer prayers, but temples are very powerful ways to remove your karma also. So temples are ideally an opportunity for you to deal with, to engage with a mechanism to remove your own karma with that particular energy. Now,
does that mean you're purifying the planetary energies of your chart through visiting temple?
without a doubt. Now, that's a big reason why, at least in India, they say that you have a problem, go to this temple kind of thing. But it's not that you're going to a temple, you're getting the blessing, and you are coming out with the blessing. Along the way to the temple itself, the karmic obstacles will show up. And then you deal with one of those obstacles one by one, you'll see that temple energy is improving. In fact, now this is a bigger thing. So anytime you go to a temple, especially the first time, you can even measure that karma according to your chart. So for instance, you're going to a temple the first time. You can consider your first house to be activated from a BCB standpoint. You're going to the same temple the second time. The second house will be considered to be activated in your chart when you go to the same temple second time. Now, say you go like sixth time. Sixth time will always have challenges, right? Sixth house. Sixth house is actually obstacle giving house, trick houses, Dushtana house, and all that. Some of the other challenges will show up. Health issue might show up. You feel sick or something. That's why when you feel sick, going to the temple will be important, actually. Even when you feel sick, going to temple has its own advantages in terms of improving things. I mean, not to spread COVID or whatnot. Use your own intelligence for this matter. But you'll see that actually. Sixth house kind of thing you can see. It will have problems. Eighth house kind of thing when you're going also. Eighth time to a temple will also have its own challenges because of this principle. The 12th time you're visiting the same temple will also a problem. Good, yeah?
I have a query, like, okay, if you said visiting sixth time, visiting eighth time, the sixth house, eighth house and all. But is it to be observed from the Lagna chart or is it to be observed from the position of planet?
That's a good point. Now see, that's why am I pressing this, right? Now say you are going to a Narasimha temple. Your Mars is in the sixth house. Now you go to the first house, nothing happens. Second house, nothing big happens. Third time, nothing big happens. Fourth time, okay, fine. Fifth house, fine. Sixth house, when you're going, suddenly everything, all hell is breaking loose. Because you see Mars in the sixth house in your chart. And now Narasimha is also directly linked with Mars energy. Now so you will see that. So the sixth visit to that temple might be exactly when you might see that particular energy coming completely to the front. Say you have Saturn in the 11th house. When you go to the Shani temple, the 11th time, exactly at the 11th time is when you will see that particular energy giving you pure results. You can see that expression of that energy completely happening in your life. Now, every time you're going to the temple, you can see your first house will be activated. The corresponding house, when that, one more way also you can do the BCP is that, which is what Aditya was saying. You can also consider Shani to be activated as well when you go to the temple first time. So 2 BCP kind of cycles you can count. One will be from your first house, second will be from the planet itself. And you can do that. Now, here's the thing. Now, Shani has its third house aspect. Shani also aspects the 10th house aspect. Now, if you do this particular thing, the third visit to a Shani temple will activate third house results. You'll have some karma can be more strongly cleared up on the third visit. When you visit the Shani temple 10th visit, that for the 10th time, you can see that 10th house energy from the Shani will also get cleared up. So you'll see that will be the more karmic visits in general. You'll see that is going to activate more karma for you or more obstacles for you according to your karma, either good things or bad things. Now, important thing is that usually many people say no to go to a temple and all that in some cases, but which is not the right way to think about it. A better way to approach it is that to understand if I'm having obstacles towards going to a temple, there are some karmic obstacles I have to clear up before I get a darshan of that deity. That is a much more better way to think about it, actually. But along the way, you can measure what karma you have by visiting those temples regularly or by observing the nature of the obstacles that is coming your way also. So does that help? Whatever I shared so far?
Yeah.
So that's a very important thing to recognize. Temples are not really places where your wishes get fulfilled, but it's a very powerful place for you to remove your karma. Let's just approach it that way. The moment you have that perspective, a lot of things open up for you from temples. Because what is a temple, right? A temple is a kshetram where a field of that particular energy, a particular guna is being maintained. So according to the grahas, we have the navagrahas. So you have sun, moon, and the rest of the 5 grahas, and then add to that Rahu and Ketu. So each temple will have that particular energy of sun or moon or Mars or Venus or so forth accordingly. And then when you're going to that temple and all that, you carry your own energy field which you're trying to harmonize. That particular energy will get harmonized within you at the same time. So they will say that, okay, you go to every Vishnu temple. Say you're going to a Vishnu temple, you go to a Krishna temple, you are chanting Narasimha Stotram. Will you get results? What do you think, Aditya?
Yes, you will get results, no?
You'll get results. Okay. But what about
Yeah.
chanting Narasimha Stotram in Narasimha temple? Which will be stronger result?
Oh, of course, definitely the latter one.
Later on, very easily. So you
Correct.
can see that. So remember that. So the later one. So the more the mantras and the stotrams and kavachas, etc., when you're doing it directly of that temple,
Yes.
that god temple will have its own strong results. That's a bigger thing also. Something to think about in this way. Now, the other thing also I wanted to add. So remember, temples are opportunities for you to clear out your karmas. Approach it like that. Now, sometimes when you go along that towards the temple, you are having a lot of obstacles. You decided. Now, see, here's the other thing also. The moment you decided you want to go to a temple, from that point itself, the karmas will start to line up before you get to that deity. That's a big thing. So the moment you start to decide, okay, I'm going to Tirupati, from that point on, that particular energy, that karma with that particular deity has opened up. And when you start to go to that temple, whatever obstacles you have as part of that karma will actually open up. So right now, Shabrimala is happening right now. So some people, famously, when you're going to Shabrimala, there are other obstacles and so forth. Some people have health issues and so forth and all that. Now, this is one big thing which I observed actually. This is a case I know directly. So there were two people who actually went to this particular temple called as Tunganath temple in, which is the Panchkedar thing. There is a Panchkedar temple circuit in Uttarakhand, which is now falling apart now. But anyway, so Joshimata and all that's but anyway, in Uttarakhand though, there are 5 temples there. You have the Panchkedar. One is the Kedarnath, which everyone knows, but there is 4 more temples there actually. You have the Tungnath, then you have the 3 more Nath temples are there, interestingly. Now, the story goes that the Panchkedar temples were created or originally established by Pandavas because so that they can, clear up the karmas which they had of killing Kauravas who are their blood siblings and so forth. So they killed also their elder and all that. So to clear out that karma, those temples were established. The story of that, origin story of the temple is also that they worshipped Shiva in the form of a bull. And you had bull, the Shiva's head, the bull was there, but the bull would just run away quickly. Bull would not want the worship of Pandava. So eventually Bhima had to come in and hold the bull, and then only then they could worship him and all that and so forth. Now, once the bull was worshipped like that, eventually the bull split into 5 parts, and each parts of that bull became each of the Panch Kedar is the story. Now, of course, these two people are going to they went to Kedarnath, which was completely fine, not a problem. But then it was the head of the bull, not an issue. It just went a normal travel thing. But then the moment when they went to like Tunganath was a place where the arms of that bull fell. That is the story at least. Now, of course, when one person had a very easy travel thing. Now, Tunganath is supposedly a big steep hike, 10-kilometer, but steep hike, very steep hike. So not an easy hike at all. One of the person was like, they just could not even climb even 1 kilometer. Other person was an avid trekker. So that trekker was able to climb 12 kilometers very easily, whatever that thing was, so very easily. And then one person who was lagging behind, finally climbed a donkey and finally got to the midway point, and they met the other person, original person who went there and so forth. And now, surprisingly, the original person was like an avid trekker, as I mentioned, experienced in trekking and all that. Now, the second person, though, this person was actually very tired. So at the midway point, there is a usual juice stand and all that there, some middle of the mountain juice stand. Very, very thirstily, he started to actually drink whatever was there and all that. So all these juices which you get, fruities and, all this thing, he started to drink very quickly. Now, immediately after he drank and quenched his thirst, he looked at the expiry date. It was already expired. So, of course, what did I drink? So that's what that particular person was thinking. So immediately, like within 5 minutes itself, whatever he drank, all that came out. He like literally puked everything. He vomited everything out. And then eventually that person went to the top and all that. So finally completed the travel and so forth. But then this person eventually approached me and said, this experience happened. I was like, what's going on? So like, why is one person having a smooth travel to Tungnath? Why is the other person having a smooth travel to Tungnath? But surprisingly, what I found was that in one person's chart, Mercury was in Hasta, and in the other person's chart, a malefic planet, Mars, was in Hasta. So now think about the origin story of Tungnath. Tungnath is actually linked with the arms of Mahadev, arms of the bull. So someone is having a good planet in Hasta, very easy travel, no problem, very easily you can get to that point. Someone else was having Mars in Hasta. Mars is like a malefic. And Hasta is also, Mercury is also linked with digestion issues and so forth. You can see that. So this person had that malefic digestion karma which had to be cleared up before they could actually get to the
And
top.
Mars is not in a friendly sign too, correct?
Exactly correct. Mars also not in a friendly sign, challenges and so forth and all that. So clearly that's also a very good point. So basically what was happening is that this person was getting to the Tungnath temple, but along this way, the problematic obstacle karma had to be faced and cleared up also. So many times when you go to meet
was there some pain in that person's arms, legs,
yeah, of
or
course.
arms especially?
Yeah, hiking, right? Long hiking and all that. So
Yeah,
without doubt, there was problems and so forth. It was not any smooth experience for sure. But definitely that Mars and Hasta and malefic karma had to be cleared out before that person got to Tungnath. That's a big point. So this is the idea actually. When you approach temples as opportunities to clear out your own karma, so what would happen in ancient times is that deliberately they would make any pilgrimage very hard upon themselves. They would start walking from food for a long time. One whole day they will start walking so that all the karmas are cleared up deliberately itself. So that was a normal thing. Longer hikes they would happen deliberately so that the karmas can be purified. Now at the same time, the blessings can also come when you purify those karmas. So again, I know a couple trying to conceive when they actually they walked their path all the way to Kedarnath top, and then when they reached the top of the Kedarnath, eventually they were able to conceive after a lot of years of marriage and all that. So that kind of thing can happen. So it could be depending upon the karma also, things like that. So this is a big point. So when you actually approach a temple as an obstacle opportunity, and when you recognize that the past life karma with that particular energy form is what gets purified, then temples are very powerful places where you can go. Now, here's the thing. The first attempt to go to a temple, you're having problems. The second attempt, the problems will slightly get better. The third attempt, it is much more easier. Fourth attempt, now you're enjoying the trip. Fifth attempt, now you're getting blessings and so forth. Sixth attempt, it is much more blessings. Seventh attempt, it's much more easier and all that. So the problem is not really temples. The problem is your own karma with that particular energy form. And every visit to that temple is an opportunity for you to clear out that karma. And of course, the first attempt will be tougher. Second time when you go, it becomes easier. Third time when you go, it becomes easier and so forth. Kind of thing can also happen. So that is also the other logic going on. So this is a big, huge point. And as I mentioned, you can also use BCP kind of thing also. Like the first time you're going to a temple, look at the first house. Second, look at the first house with that particular graha and look at the first house in your chart also. And then you can do a BCP kind of thing at two different ways to see what karmas are getting activated. That's a very simple point. Now here's the other thing actually. Now this is the first part of the temple idea which I wanted to share. This idea that temples are opportunities for you to clear out of karmas, and you can kind of measure your own karmic progress with respect to that particular energy in your chart eventually. Of course, now if you're getting blessings from Narasimha, for instance, you will get Martian blessings. You will get blessings of land, you get blessings of siblings issues getting resolved very easily, and so forth. When you're going to a Durga temple, you're getting blessings or Rahu blessings much more easily. You're getting include foreign land energies, your big wealth and all that can come, and so forth. So astrologically, you can identify what kind of energies you're getting, what blessings you're getting much more easily, and so forth. Now, that is a huge point. Now, this is the next point, next big topic I want to, next big idea about temples. Now, so Aditya, tell me which house is linked with your homeland and so forth in the chart.
Oh, the fourth house.
Okay, fourth house. So, a simple way to say with the fourth house is that, say you have Jupiter in the fourth house. What could it usually mean with regard to your own house, actually, in general?
Jupiter in the fourth house means it will be near to massive house. First of all, Jupiter is
Exactly.
massive thing.
Yeah.
And Jupiter is also a place of worship.
Yeah.
Maybe there can be a place of worship like church or temple, or maybe if you have Rahu influence, maybe a mosque near to your house, or maybe a college, university, learning place,
Yeah.
teaching place, something monastery. Who knows?
Yeah.
Near to your place.
Exactly correct. So all those are very important points. So first of all, two aspects. So one is that when you have Jupiter in the fourth house, you can immediately say your house can be big, very well palatial-like and all that. That kind of thing you can say, especially if that Jupiter is strong and all that. And then you can also add what Aditya was mentioning. Your house is close to a Jupiteran place, which is what he was telling. He was telling could be a church, could be a temple, could be a monastery, could be an educational institution, school, something like that is very close to your Jupiteran place. You can say that to your house, actually. A Jupiteran place is close to your house. Now, of course, the other easier thing to say is also Jupiter is in the fourth house. So Jupiter energy is worshipped in the house, can be said. So Vishnu is being worshipped in the house, requires to be worshipped. Krishna is being worshipped in the house, kind of thing. Cannot be. A guru is being worshipped in the house, that kind of thing cannot be said. But from the external thing, we are talking about temples here. Easiest way to say is that you can say the house is close to a Jupiterian place or a Jupiterian temple. And that's the first idea. So if you have a planet in the fourth house, so let me ask you that actually. So what kind of temple would you say is there close to your house when you have sun in the fourth house?
When your sun is Shiva temple.
Sun is Shiva.
Shiva
So you can say sun is Shiva. Sun can be Surya temple, sun temple itself. Sun in general context, you could say government offices and so forth also, you can say. What about moon in the fourth house? What kind of temples would be moon in the fourth house?
Some Devi temple.
Devi temple.
And also moon is also birth. Maybe I feel hospitals can also be birth taking place.
Good point. Very good point. Birthplace, a lot of mothers are made and all that. Could be close to hospital also. Very good point.
Hospital also, and then probably children. Moon is child also. Sometimes moon is children, child. So maybe park.
Park kind of thing. Moon can also be places of primary school, the children's school, nursery schools kind of thing. Kind of thing also. You can
maybe
say
Chandrasekhara is also Shiva. Maybe this can also show possibility with again Shiva temple.
That's a good
sun
point.
As well as for moon.
That's a very, very good point. So sun can be a Shiva temple. Moon can be Shiva Parvati temple or Shiva Parivar temple kind of thing. Can also be said. Now, we also mentioned moon is linked with Krishna. So in some cases, moon can also be linked with Krishna temples. You can see that. Now, what about Mars actually? Mars in the fourth house.
Mars can be, Narasimha temple, especially. Hanuman temple.
Hanuman temple, yeah.
Police station. Police station can be something like that, And Mars also represents what? Maybe what else? Some land office, land registration, real estate office.
Yeah, exactly. So
and maybe Mars also shows fire, and the land or the home which is there, maybe close, little bit of barren land, or maybe something like dry land, or something like that, or the land which has got struck by some lightning, probably.
Interesting, yeah.
Because when you say Mars in that prayers, what you say, Vidyut Kantam, so it's like something electricity is connected with Mars.
Yeah.
So lightning, thunderbolt strike land, already.
Right. So I agree that. So Mars can
electric grid can be there.
Right. So Mars can represent machines, electricity, and so forth. So those kind of institutions or companies or organizations can be there. But from definitely from a temple perspective, you can say Hanuman temple, Narasimha temple. Now in South India, Murugan temple, exactly. You can say Murugan temple. You can also say Mars is also linked with Kali temple also. Goddess Kali is also having a Martian aspect. In Kerala and all that, Goddess Kali is, Bhagavati is considered to be Mars aspect. That is also one more thing you can see. Now, what about Mercury in the fourth house?
Vishnu temple.
Vishnu temple
is common. Ganapati temple, maybe because Ganapati also connected with Ketu. But
Ganpati also, yeah.
Then Mercury is also, this thing for teenagers. So again, children connections there. You can see something maybe
Yeah.
again a park or something like that where
Yeah.
learning. Mercury is also connected with library.
Yeah, that's correct.
Bank.
Yeah.
Bank, library, all those. A lot of commercial places and all.
Right.
So that's also Mercury.
Right. So Mercury.
Yeah.
No, that's good. So you can see Mercury is linked with commercial places, learning centers, institutions, training centers, and all that. You can see with Mercury. Mercury is
Maybe
also
forest.
forest also. Yeah, Mercury is also forest. A lot of greenery and all that. That's also one more place where you can
School
see
also. School.
school also. You can say for sure
Yeah.
that kind of thing. From a temple perspective, as Aditya mentioned, you can see Ganesha, Vishnu temple, Krishna temple. Krishna avatars temples can also be linked with Mercury in general. That can be said also. In some places, Mercury linked with Buddhism. So you can say a Buddhist kind of temple, Buddhist energy is close
Pagoda.
by,
Yeah.
pagoda kind of thing and all that. Also, you can see. Mercury is also Ganesha. That's also one more thing you can see. Now, Mercury can also be child goddesses also, like Bala temple, Balambika and all that. That kind of thing also be said with Mercury also. That is also one more thing in general you can see. Now, what about Jupiter and energy? So we talked about Jupiter in the fourth house already. So we'll just so from a temple perspective, it can be Vishnu temple, Sai temple, and so forth in general. Guru temple, any temple of Guru, and all that. That particular aspect. What about Venus in the fourth house?
Venus will be some Devi temple, Lakshmi temple,
Yeah.
And Venus is also Venus in the fourth house. Venus is very good, beautiful house, that
Yeah.
can be. Venus is also a Jalatattva planet, so maybe close to a water body. Maybe that
Yeah.
can also be possible with moon.
Yeah.
But some Jalatattva thing can come. Venus is also something very luxurious in the hustle and bustle of the main heart city.
Yeah.
Where things go. Restaurant or something like that,
Yeah.
fancy restaurant are very close to that probably. Lot of money making thing
Yeah.
because Venus is related to money too. So money making things can be also probably something related to that.
Yeah.
What else I can think of? Well, that's what I could think right now in my head.
Venus can be flowers, entertainment,
Flowers, entertainment.
movie
True.
theater, things like that. Place where a lot
Yeah.
of romantic thing happens, park and all
I
that.
don't know,
Venus,
mall. Yeah,
mall, yeah,
mall.
mall for sure, yeah, definitely.
Mall
Shopping
can be.
centers, that kind of
Shopping
thing.
centers.
You can
Yes.
see that. So of course, Venus, as Aditya mentioned, it's also Devi temple. So Devi places of worship and so forth. You can see that very easily. Venus is also Lakshmi temple more prominently. So goddess aspects will be strong. Flower places can be said with Venus kind of thing in general. So flower places, flower energies can be said with her also. Usually Venus is a goddess and all that. So goddess aspect is very strong with Venus. Now there are also Vishnu avatars linked with Venus, which is Parshuram and all that is there. But could be like you can also say Shiva aspect or Nataraja kind of thing can also be said with Venus in general. But anyway, Parshuram temples are very rare. So Parshuram Kshetram is Kerala, but the Parshuram does not have a Kshetram by itself. That's a different thing. Anyway, you have what about Shani in the fourth house?
Shani in the fourth house, maybe, Shani is very dry, barren land, so not much things going there. Very, you won't feel like the place will be a little bit boring probably. But again, Saturn is connected with, like for example, Kurma avatars or Vishnu avatar. But of course, Vishnu can be considered as anything, all the avatars. But Saturn, Shani temple itself, there are many Shani temple. I remember when I used to live in Bangalore many years back, there used to be a Shani temple.
Yeah.
So Shani temple itself can be a theme.
Yeah.
At the same time, Shani also represents some old age homes.
Yeah.
Possibly. Maybe retiring homes, old age homes. What else can you say?
Yeah, Shani, of course, can be places where a lot of problems are there, marketplace, busy place, things like that.
Common masses, you mean to
Common
say?
masses kind of thing, things like
Come.
that. That is very true. Shani, of
Shani
course.
is also garbage.
Hopefully, you are not staying close to garbage and all that, but it can also
No,
happen.
but you sometimes happens, man. No, in Bombay and all, there are very homes and buildings close to the garbage dumping ground and all.
Right. Yeah.
So possibly.
Yeah.
Who knows?
of course, so Shani can be garbage places where Shani kind of activities are happening more. Industry places and all that can be said somewhere.
Sewage.
Sewage.
Little bit.
Yeah, you can do that. So Rahu is sewage anyway. So Rahu was
Yeah.
Shani and all that. You can see that potential for that is there. Now, but from a temple perspective, definitely you can say a Hanuman temple can be linked with Shani. Kal Bhairav temple can be Shani also. Shani temple itself, as Aditya mentioned. I'll also say goddess Kali temple can also be linked with Shani. So that is also one more temple you can clearly see with Shani. So that's also one of the things there. Now, what about Rahu in the fourth house?
Rahu in the fourth house. Now, Rahu can be very some Rahu type of karma. Now, what is Rahu? Rahu energies, of course, Kali energy and
Yeah,
Bhairava and all those things. All the temples can be that. Rahu is also connected with I don't know which, but Rahu has got no particular sign. Maybe we have to consider what sign it is and what of course aspects and everything has to be considered.
yeah.
I don't know what will be Rahu's property there.
So Rahu can be, of course, Rahu in the fourth house or Shani in the fourth house or malefic planet in the fourth house for that matter can take you to foreign lands. Rahu in the fourth house, good chance you are already in foreign lands. So there's no temples around. Could be like a temple from a different faith. There could be like you might have a church around. So
Maybe
as
mosque.
mosque around, that kind of thing
Mosque.
can be said. So if you are depends upon who you are and all that. So Rahu can be you are in a foreign land yourself, and because of that, the closest place to your home is basically the foreign lands fate. That
Maybe
kind of
casino, man.
thing. Rahu in the
Casino.
bottle, definitely casino places where gambling
Yeah.
happens. That's correct. Alcohol
Yeah.
happens, a bar and all that. You can say
Alcohol.
that kind of thing. You can say Rahu in general can definitely take you towards foreign lands. Standard placements to predict foreign land thing and all that. From a temple perspective, definitely a Rahu-like energy like Durga, Kal Bhairava, Kali, and all that can be said. More fiercer deities, Varaha Avatar, Varaha Swami kind of thing also you can say with Rahu. That kind of aspect can be said. Now, what about Ketu in the
Ketu.
fourth house?
Ketu will be Ganesha temple, definitely.
Yeah,
Ganesha, Chinnamasta temple,
yeah,
all those.
yeah,
Ganesha temple. And Ketu is, again, what is that Ketu? Moksha, some spiritual places again.
right,
That can be secluded, very
right,
secluded. And again, Rahu Ketu, as you say, Ketu is also Buddhism,
right,
Ketu is also Christian, some other
right,
religious thing. Maybe
right.
they are near to your home. So such type of energies can be possible. Devotional, some devotion center, bhakti center, spiritual centers and all.
Right. Yeah, so you can see that. So Rahu, so definitely one more thing I forgot to mention with Rahu Ketu is especially in India and all that, you can see Naga temples and all that. So Rahu Ketu can be Naga shrines and so forth also. Of course, Ketu can be linked with Ganesha. Ketu can be linked with Ganesha temples very strongly. Can be linked with Gurdwaras also, to be frank. Rahu Ketu can be linked with the Gurdwara thing also. Usually the Rahu and Ketu can also be potentially linked with Kuldevi and Kuldevata kind of aspect also in some cases. Now, usually Kuldevata or Kuldevi are very important temples to visit to solve 99% of your problems, especially in terms of family related, children related and all that. Very good temples to visit no matter what. But that's a very huge deal when you have Rahu Ketu in the fourth house or something like that. Rahu or Ketu there becomes these important. Of course, Ketu in the fourth house can separate you from family. That is a malefic planet in the fourth house. Can again make you in a foreign land, which is opening you up to foreign land temple faiths also. Like whatever faith is in that foreign land. If you're in a Gulf, you are seeing a mosque close by. If you're in US or Europe, you might be seeing churches close by. Things like that. So that can also happen from that perspective also. Now, here's the thing actually. Of course, here we just gave a brief thing about having a planet in the fourth house. What kind of places can be close to your home? But more importantly, what kind of temples are close to your home? Now, here's the thing. The chart is yours. Now, this is a leap in logic. Let's assume you have some Rahu in the fourth house. Immediately, you found that there is a Durga temple. You made the prediction Durga temple is close to your home. Okay, great. So, your Durga temple is close to your home. There is a Durga temple close to your home. Okay, Rahu in the fourth house condition is satisfied. But what's happening here? You're looking at a chart, you're making prediction of a temple around you, which is a Durga temple close to home. Now, a very interesting thing to think about here is that, is it possible that your karmas are linked with the temples around you. Is that not possible? Is it possible? Quite easily. So, as you mentioned, Mercury in the fourth house, you are staying close to a library. So, is the library's movement or library change in the library going to activate karmas in you? Something to think about, actually. Astrology is a science in which you're connecting our own lives and destiny with the stars up in the sky. So definitely when that energy is coming down, we don't always look up at the sky, look at things that are close to the sky at least. If you have a library close to the sky, changes happening in the library can also be reflected in your own lives. A simple thing is that if the library becomes a bigger, a lot of funding and all that, a lot of people are coming to the library, you're renting out a house, then clearly you might get more opportunities coming up. It's a very logical thing to think about. But for astrologically, you can do the same kind of analysis also from
No, I think that's clearly understood. For example, let's say a big don or mafia comes next to your home.
right.
Clearly, your life is affected because a mafia is coming next to your home, probably, or
Right.
don something.
Right. Rahu, the
He's
fourth
coming
house.
there, yeah, something, or in the third house, maybe
Third house,
because next door neighbor, the big thing, or a big policeman coming, inspector coming and staying in your neighbor. Let's say.
Yeah. So that's a good point. So you have a big person staying close to you. Clearly, that karmas of that person will attract energies your way and will also affect your own karma. Now, here thing is that the leap in thing is that, but can we say that is also part of your karma? Without a doubt, you can do that. You can say that you are having a problematic home energy, so which is why that is attracting that energy around you. The same thing, you can also extend the same logic can be extended to temples also, which is a leap in thinking here. So good chance that if you are in a particular location very close to a particular temple, whatever changes that are happening in temples also linked to you. So quite often, many times there is a concept called as Desha Devata, the temple of their land. So you have the Kula Devata, you have the Grama Devata, then you have the Desha Devata. Grama Devata is the smallest temple closest to your home. Desha Devata is the biggest temple of that particular land. And that each Desha will have, each land will have their own important biggest temples actually. So you go to Kashi and all that, Kashi Vishwanath is the main deity there. You go to, Tirupati Balaji is the biggest deity there, no doubt about that. So that kind of thing can be easily said. Now, here's the thing, but at least with regard to the smaller temples closest to your home, and you can see this happening in a very direct one-on-one fashion. Any time of the change that is happening in that particular temple, your life also you can observe parallel change. It has to happen. It's a logical thing. So, like for instance, if the temple decides to put in like a new door or something like that, okay, well, in your chart, literally the door energy in your own home will also start to get improved. So usually temples are built in that particular thing. Temples are higher energy places where you have that particular concept, and that energy will slowly be passed on to the people around that particular land. The same energetic kind of thing you'll see impact happening in your own home. So say the temple decides to install a new deity. Navagras are being installed in a new temple close to your home. Interest in astrology is increasing in that particular land. It will happen. Without a doubt, if you're a student of astrology, look at the temples close to your home. Good chance one of those Desha temples and all that will have Navagras and all that. Of course, if you're in India, it's like a no-brainer. Without doubt, you can say that. But in foreign lands, you'll be surprised to see this actually. Good chance that if a new thing is happening in a temple, you can extract that kind of energy, same into your home. So therefore, any positive changes happening in temple can also be impacting your life also slowly and steadily. So that is one big thing. This can play out in many other ways. So if in a temple they decides to activate school classes happening in temple. So Jupiter energy is being activated in temple. Slowly that Jupiter energy is actually, so they started to teach Vedas in a temple. Observe what is happening in your own home. Good chance that you are also, of course, you can make the logical thing. You have a child is studying Vedas or mantras from a temple. That energy is coming to your home no matter what. But parallelly, education energy in that particular land will also slowly begin to improve. Say the temple is actually activating some Martian energies, some better equipment or something is coming. Without a doubt, you can extend that. The same Martian energy will also come into your home. Now, this is a huge thing, actually, a very huge topic. And this is something you have to observe, actually. Of course, for many foreigners who are not exposed to the temple kind of thinking, it might be challenging. But this is something you can observe in general. So things that are happening in a temple can be directly linked with energies that is possible in that land that can open up bigger opportunities in your own home. And this is a pure temple thing. Basically, the concept is that the temple is having higher energy, just like having a mafia don close to you. You're having a bigger positive energy thing close to you. When big changes are happening in that particular place, you are also getting a bit of that energy in your own life as well. Very pure kind of thinking. You can see that actually. The other logic, and now this is a wild concept, but you can observe that. So when you begin to observe that, you'll be amazed at how it works. And naturally, you will see why anything you contribute towards temple in terms of building it, constructing it, improving it. So Rahu on the Rahu, for instance, you're doing a donation. So like you're putting the crown on top of the goddess and all that. If a crown is being put, you donated a crown, Rahu energy is coming to that land. Then you are also getting the blessing immediately also. Now, depending upon the nature of the god or goddess who is getting that Rahu, you'll get those corresponding blessings much more easily. So the crown is coming upon Venus energy, like Lakshmi or Varna, the Venus kind of Rahu blessings you're getting. When you're getting Krishna is getting a crown or something, then definitely Krishna's Jupiter energy kind of Rahu your blessings you're getting. When you have Hanumanji getting a crown or something, then it's a Martian energy, Hanumanji kind of a blessing which you're getting. If it's a goddess energy, like Devi energy, moon and all that, so moon kind of blessings you're getting. So astrologically, we know each of those graphs, what it means. So Mars with Mars means brothers. Brothers are getting good money and all that. And moon means mother. Mother is becoming more prominent in the society or community kind of thing. You might see Mercury could be a child's education is getting much more better. It will happen eventually. So there's one of those, this is a very wild concept. The idea that you are not in a place by accident. You are close to a particular temple also destiny. And that temple's energies are also improving your energy. That's a new idea. That's a big thing also you can observe. Now, this is something that in general it is understood or implied actually. Understood and implied around temples and so forth. But this is astrological side of it is very interesting thing to observe. So especially if you know the energy which graha is linked with what that temple god and goddess, you can be very precise with regard to the nature of that energy also. The other thing in this concept also, I want to share one more thing, is that, so say you visit a particular city, good chance that it is that physically we are in a particular city to experience our karma there, whether for work or whether for studies or something like that. But then when you actually, a good chance that if you're there in that particular city, you can identify which temple or god energy is closest to that city or that ruling that city, which is the Desha energy as it's called. And when you go to that particular temple energy, good chance that your karmas with that particular city or that particular land can be much more easily pacified. That's also a simple thing. So you're working in Chennai. Of course, Chennai, there's thousands of temples there, but at least the closest temple to your office is a big thing astrologically linked to your own karmas, to be frank. That's also one more thing you can identify. When you go to the closest temple to your office, you'll begin to observe your office karmas are getting much more easier in general. So going to the closest temple to your home, you can see your home karma is getting much more better in general. So when you go to the Desha temple, so not the closest temple, but the slightly bigger temple close to home, you'll see your home karma is becoming much more smoother. When you go to the biggest temple close to your office, you'll see your office karmas are getting much more easier. So it's a very simple thought and very, very simple thing, how you can see it happen also. So the idea is very simple, but the leap in thinking is big. So in which you are actually linking your karmas with a particular land and you're linking that land energy with the temples close to that land. That has its own impact. That's a very, very important thing also. Now, so this also, so now here's the thing. So if you are in a particular place where you're in any particular location, good chance that closest temple to that particular land is the reason why you are there in that particular land. Now, you might be in the US. There are no temples in Texas and all that, but the closest city where you find a temple, good chance there you might get some energies there. It could be that sometimes you might be close to like a Buddhist place or something, or a meditation place or something like that in the US, then great. Then you might get blessings from that land also, particularly from that place also. However, at the same time, if you're in that particular land, identify the closest temple to that particular land. Good chance you are there to clear out some karmas with respect to that particular energy form in that particular land. Okay, so these are some important points. Now, the final thing I want to basically say was like, well, two more things actually. One is the omens idea. So let me ask one thing. So the idea of omens, now what we talked about your home, we talked about temples, we talked about temples in the land and so forth. Now, we talked about how temples can be approached as karmic obstacle removing opportunities. So you can remove your karma slowly with every visit to a temple and slowly convert that negative karma into positive karma eventually over a period of time. Now remember, it's not the problem of the god that is giving you a problem. It is your own karmas which is acting as obstacles. But here's some more thing you can identify from an omen's perspective that is happening in a temple. So when you're going to a temple, now first of all, you go to a temple. If the priest is not treating you right in a temple, let me ask this Aditya to you. So what kind of karma would that indicate? If the priest is like shouting at you, priest is giving you a problem. In general, what do you think? Of course,
That is basically some karma related to Jupiter is getting treated.
immediately you can say that karma with regard to Jupiter
Yeah.
or a priest is getting cleared up by that temple,
Correct.
especially with respect to that particular energy form or that god. That's a good point. At the same time, if a priest is interacting with you in a more benign manner at that particular temple, you can say the Jupiter energy, as far as that particular god's energy is concerned, is getting slightly better and so forth. So before you go to a temple and after you go to a temple can also represent one more thing. Before you go to a temple can represent the obstacles until that point. And after you go to after the temple darshan is over, when you're leaving, the omens happening around that can indicate what are the blessings you are getting from that temple. That's the other thing. So sometimes when you actually, this is a very subtle thing which you can observe actually. These are omens. So you have to pay attention to what is happening, and especially that is happening subconsciously and all that. So when you're coming out of a temple, you're having interaction with the priest. What energy interaction has happened now?
It's Mercury.
Mercury interaction. You could also say Jupiter interaction also with the priest.
Mercury,
Mercury, Jupiter.
some intellectual, so yeah.
Intellectual thing. Intellectual ideas discussed. So when you come out of a temple, you can see that if the interaction was a Jupiter in nature, you are getting a Jupiter and blessings can be guaranteed. That's one thing you can see. So now say you're coming out, you're say you're going to a temple, you're having a problem with the security guard there. The police there is like giving you problems.
Definitely, Mars.
Mars. So immediately you can say Mars is having problem. But at the same time, when you're coming out of the temple, if you're having a positive interaction with Mars, like the security guard is having a good thing or whatnot, again, now immediately you can say the Martian energy is getting much more better. What about if you're having a document problem with the temple? So you have a ticket or something, the ticket had problem, or the person, the counter place, person from where you're getting the receipt is having a problem. What kind of energy would that be?
Ticket counter, correct?
Yeah, ticket counter, yeah.
Ticket counter, maybe who will be the ticket counter? Maybe the Mercury thing. He's
Exactly
distributing.
correct. Exactly correct. Mercury documents and so forth.
Yeah,
It's a document thing. So immediately, if you're having a problem with Mercury energy, so immediately you can say it's a Mercury energy karma that is getting cleared up. Now, say you're coming out, you're getting a much more positive interaction. An uncle calls you or cousin calls you and all that. Immediately you can say it's a Mercury thing that is happening. Blessing you can get from the temple. Now, say you are interacting with the people who are running the temple community or trust and so forth, or that committee
that
members.
will be probably Rahu.
Why Rahu? No, why not Sun or Moon?
Will it be a Rahu karma? Will it be a Rahu karma?
I would say more. Why would it be a Rahu?
Officials, something like an officials thing.
Okay, so official is more people with power and authority. It should be more Sun and Moon.
Sun also can be. Yeah,
Sun and Moon, right? So, of course, the king who is controlling the temple, so the temple person you can see as Sun. So that kind of thing, right? So you can see the sun of that temple or the moon of the temple, someone who's having power and all that, that kind of thing. So the sun moon karma. So if an interaction happens with such people, so if they are creating problems before, good chance that you are having sun moon karma before itself. So like you're going to a temple, You go with some items, the people there are saying, no, you cannot go with these items. Immediately, you know that problems are from the sun moon. But at the same time, when you come out, you're having an interaction with that particular kind of people. Immediately, you can say sun moon kind of blessings you are getting also at the same time. So it's a normal thing. It will happen by itself.
So that's why we are not supposed to take cameras. Cameras is Rahu.
Yeah, exactly. Camera and all that. Camera will absorb the energy, right? So without doubt. Camera's technology, you're bringing Rahu energy, disturbing that aura of that god and all that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So exactly that. That's also one more thing. Now, what about say what about a flower person? So you're having problem with the flower
That's
person,
definitely Venus and all.
Venus and all that. Very directly, you can say Venus thing is going on. So you're going with flowers, then the flower breaks up, flower energy is having problems. All that you can say Venus karma is what is actually getting involved. Now, say you're coming
Hey,
out of it.
yeah. Your slippers get stolen, Saturn.
Very directly, slippers get stolen, Saturn. Now,
Many times it happens, no?
yeah, it happens. Yeah, in India and all that, it's a common thing, right? So when you have a lot of slippers and all that, Saturn gets stolen. But here's the thing: what happens? Should you take another slippers and come out when your slippers get stolen? What do you think?
No, the karma is gone, so leave it.
Exactly correct. You have to leave it there. You have to leave it there, and you have to come out without taking another person's slippers. Many people take.
Because many people other take others and then they get a new karma added on.
Exactly correct. So that's also a big mistake. So when something is lost in a temple, good chance that it is actually it is happening. Your karma is going on with respect to that particular deity. Okay. So then let's put it this way. So Aditya already now say Saturn is also like servant and all that. So if you're interacting with servant of a temple, like a security or someone who's serving in a temple and all that, so you can immediately say Saturn kind of karma is also getting improved there also. Now, so this is also one more subtle thing. So the idea is that looking at the nature of the karmic obstacles happening inside a temple. So like look at the interactions that are happening inside a temple, identify the graha energy which is coming up when you're in a temple. That can slowly show up what is the nature of the karma you have with respect to that particular god's energy. Very direct and very simple thing you can see. And exactly the same point, when you're coming out of that temple, when you're leaving, you can clearly observe what are the events happening in a temple, observe the nature of the interaction that happened, and then you can identify the karmic blessings you're getting as a result of that particular temple usage also very easily. A simpler thing, you're going to a temple, you're coming out, you see a child's education thing is being done, like the first writing is being done in a temple as a ritual. Yeah. Immediately you can say blessings of Jupiter is there. So some wealth increase can come, children's blessing can come and so forth. Immediately you can say. When you come out of a temple, you're seeing a marriage happen. Immediately Venus blessing is there. You can see things like that also. So this need not be extended just to people inside temple, can be extended to events happening outside a temple also. And of course, that can be extended. That is also one more thing that can be done. So this is also a very important idea. And remember this whole idea. So like the temple, that God's energy is a very particular energy. That each of those gods can carry a particular graha energy, more dominant graha energy. But the other graha interactions also happening with that same deity. That's also a big idea. That is which we are presenting here also. Now, as a final thing, that's what are the items you can donate to a temple, which graha would that improve and all that. So that'll be the final thing, Aditya. So do tell me, so if sun is in the 12th house or the sun is aspecting the 12th house from the 6th house, what kind of donations can one make to a temple?
Sun is aspecting the 6th house. Okay.
Sun is in the 6th house or aspecting the 12th house or in the 12th house.
Okay. So probably sun also represents gold.
That's good. Yeah. So donating gold. That's a good point. People donate gold also.
Wheat is also related to sun. Good, jaggery.
Jaggery, yeah, that's correct. Jaggery.
So those donations. And what is sun? Maybe 12th house, correct? You said?
Yeah.
So what else? What else could be there?
Sun can be copper also, right? Copper items and so forth. That kind of thing.
Items.
Donating copper to a temple. Now, definitely, sun can also be linked with jaggery. Sun can also be donating your own time or your own presence or your own energy. Sun is you yourself, actually. So that can also be given like that. Jaggery was mentioned. Sun can be gold donations and so forth can be given. Sun is also honey. Donating honey is also good, in my view.
Mm.
That is also good. That is also a good thing. Now, what about moon in the 12th house? What kind of donations can be made? Moon in the 6th house aspect,
Milk,
12th house also. Milk.
milk
Uh-huh.
is very, very common thing.
Yeah.
Water, milk, donating
Uh-huh.
water bottles maybe for the, for the temple. Maybe
Uh-huh.
temples can give to people, and also water is definitely connected to moon.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I said milk. Sweets. Sweets will come mostly in Jupiter and all. I will say
Sure,
I
yeah.
will. I
Sure.
won't put it. I won't put
Yeah.
in moon.
Yeah. Maybe
Moon can
white
also
sweets,
be
right? White sweets.
white color. Yeah, but that again, I will put it more like
Sure.
Venus.
Okay. Sure, yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
So of course, water, milk, water bottles, anything to drink, anything that quenches
Mm.
thirst, can be a food also, can be a rice
Okay, food
donation also.
also.
So in
Yes,
temples,
yes.
the Anna Prashnam and all, Anna Danam and all that, kind of thing can be done. All that is great. Food, rice especially, white colored food. Kheer donation is very good on moon and all that, that kind of thing.
Correct.
Also, you can see.
Yeah.
Now, what about Mars? What is the items can you donate when you have Mars in 12th house or Mars in the 6th house, that's been 12th house?
Mars will be like what? What is Mars? I think I have karma with Mars probably.
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
Mars is not coming into my
Yeah.
head.
So Mars can be like anything with fire, right? So donating a lamp, a brass diya, brass
Yeah.
deepam. Of course, many kinds of
Lot
diyas
of
there. You can donate like kansa diya, kansa deepam, copper diya, all that is there. You can donate a fire thing. Mars can also be electrical equipment also. So any kind of electrical equipment kind of thing.
security things, maybe.
Security things, yeah.
Security,
Security
yeah.
things that can be done.
Lock keys, maybe something
Yeah.
security things,
Yeah. Moon
And
can go, yeah.
and what else I was thinking?
Mars can also be
Maybe,
utensils in my view, metal and all that. Any kind of
yeah,
metal utensils.
metals. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Metals.
Metals like
Maybe
you.
to construct that barricades and all those things, something like
Yeah.
that, probably.
Consider security barricades. I would
Yeah.
also say things with the kitchen, like utensils used to interact with fire and all that.
Fire.
That kind of thing.
Firewood. I don't know whether firewood comes in.
Yeah, firewood also would definitely. That's a good point.
Firewood.
And that's interesting. Firewood can be both Mars and Saturn in my view, but I do think it can work out. That's a good point actually. Fuel for the thing and all that.
Yeah.
So Mars can be that. Mars can be utensils. The diyas and also forth is also Mars. Firewood also.
See, even grains you're saying when you're saying,
That's a good
Mars
point.
is connected.
Yeah,
Mars is connected. What is that?
red lentil,
Masoor dal, red
masoor dal,
dal,
red lentils.
red lentils. Yeah.
Yeah, red lentils donation. That's a very good point. So grains, you have the items and all that. Very true.
Correct.
Mars can also be weapons to a god. So like a spear to Murugan temple. You're donating a veil. You're donating a sword to a Kali temple. You're donating like a Trishul to a Bhairav temple. Things like that. Mars can also be that as well. Weapons. Now, what about Mercury? What kind of donations if Mercury is in the 12th house?
Mercury can be, books, definitely books. Books is there. Leaves to offer to God. Leaves are there. Books are there. Also something like a knowledge, imparting knowledge things and all those. Then moong dal, of course, when we talk about dal. Moong dal is basically with that green husk,
Green lentils, yeah.
Green lentils. So that is that too. Then probably with speech, maybe that speakers and all, communication things, because Mercury is communication.
Yeah.
With something like maybe like what is that handset, telephone set in India?
Yeah.
What is that?
Mobile phone, yeah.
Nowadays, mobile phone, but walkie-talkie type,
yeah.
Used to have those.
Yeah.
I don't know nowadays how many people use, but something like,
right.
But mic and all, something related to communication things and all those things you can.
Right.
That will be helpful.
Right. So mic for sure, speech, leaves, books, anything for the books, donating paper, stationery items, things to communicate. Computer devices, communication devices, all that, the communication thing. Mercury can also be plants also. Some people donate plants, growing plants, tulsi plants, leaves and all that, as you mentioned. Various leaves, all that. Now, what about Jupiter? What kind of items can we offer to a priest?
Jupiter is learning again. So learning Vedas and all those things, and having classes. If you can possibly teach some classes in, like a small Gurukul system itself, you can start and then make your own
Yeah.
small class, imparting knowledge to voluntary knowledge to some students and all.
Yeah.
That you can do. And again, here also it's knowledge distribution and something very similar to Mercury things can be possible. At the same time, Mercury, Venus is also no, Jupiter is also ghee. You know,
Exactly correct.
ghee that is also there. Ghee, Jupiter also related to your chana dal. Chana dal,
Yeah.
that's
Yellow
yellow in color.
lentils. Yeah.
Yellow lentil. So that you can do. So those are all connection with Jupiter.
Yeah. I think chana dal is Bengal grams or something. Chana, right? Chole and all that, right? That kind of thing.
Yes. Chole, yeah, I don't know. Chole is a different. Chana dal is a different thing.
Okay.
Chole is a different.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. My bad. Yeah. So then that's the thing. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, ghee for sure. Teaching knowledge, sharing knowledge in the temple, sharing, learning from the temple and sharing that, all that. Jupiter is books, donating books in the temple. All
What
that is
about
great.
banana?
Yeah, that's a good point. Banana, fruits and all that. We are not touch
Banana,
fruits, but fruits, yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Banana is a very good Jupiter and remedy. Donating banana to a temple is a very good Jupiter and thing. Jupiter is also gold. So just like sun, now moon is also silver actually. Donating
Silver
silver
actually.
to a temple for moon. Jupiter is also gold. Donating gold to a temple can also be great. Let's see. Jupiter is
Shukra,
also
Venus.
Shukra, yeah.
Oh,
What about Shukra? What would be the Shukra items that can be donated?
no, sorry, you were saying something. I interrupted you.
No. I'm just telling. With Jupiter can also be linked with like mantras and all that. Usually, fire rituals and so forth. Also Jupiter. So any ritual being done in a temple, sponsoring that, being the Yajaman of that, all that can also be favorable. Now, fire rituals usually linked with Sun, Mars, and Jupiter. But Jupiterian aspect can be good for fire rituals. You're sponsoring entire event, things like that, havans and all that. That's also one more suggestion with Jupiter. But let's go with Shukra. What about Venus in the 12th house, Venus aspecting 12th house and so forth?
Venus is luxurious things and all, correct? So Venus will be like, of course, flowers are also directly connected to Venus.
Yeah.
I don't know the grains connected to Venus. What will be
White
sugar?
lentils, sugar. Yeah,
Definitely
that's good.
sugar. Sugar,
Yeah.
yes. White, I don't know what is the exact grain for Venus.
Yeah,
Then,
kidney beans, something like that. White kidney beans, something like that. You get. Yeah.
maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Then, of course, some type of art like
Yeah, that's a good point.
singing, music,
Yeah.
maybe dance. Sometimes they are in dance and all. Entertainment, maybe that entertainment. Venus enter entertainment in temple, so that may be
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
arranging some dance, music, or something like
Events. Yeah.
events, classical music events and all.
Yeah.
That can be done. Of course, what else? And be bringing some decoration that also is connected with Venus. Decorating things, sweets. Of course, we mentioned sweets, something.
Yeah.
So decorating themes, all those things. Probably
Venus can also be clothes also. So donating clothes, silk clothes and all
definitely.
that to a temple, to a
Correct.
deity. Venus is definitely sweet items and so forth. We covered, Aditya mentioned art, music, dance, and we can do that. We can do that as an offering to the deity. Many
Correct.
times we can do that also. Venus can also be linked with self-created art also, or buying art also. All that is done. That can also be done in a temple. Venus is also flowers, so donating flower garlands and all that is great. But of course, if it's possible to grow a flower plant in a temple itself, much more auspicious. Now, rarely do we find that, to be frank. South Indian temple is very tough. North Indian and all that, if it's possible, great. It's something that can be done. Flowers also one more thing. Venus is also jewelry, so that is also one more thing. Again, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Jupiter can be the jewelry or gold and all that. That's also one more thing that can recommend, especially diamond and all that. So there are people who do diamond jewelry to Mother Meenakshi Amman kind of thing is like thing 50 lakh, 50 crore, $300 million diamond necklace or whatnot, right? That kind of thing going on. But anyway, okay. What about Saturn? What kind of items can you donate with Saturn?
Saturn connection is with respect to iron. So iron thing, something related to iron things and all. Also, Saturn is that urab dal, black urab dal and all.
Black
You
dal,
can
yeah.
give
Black
black
gram, yeah.
dal. Black gram is there. Saturn is also connected to something like a discipline again, because Saturn is like discipline and all. So don't know what is exactly coming in my head right now for
Okay.
Saturn.
So Saturn, I would also say oil. You have the
Oil,
gingerly oil.
definitely.
You have
Definitely.
the black sesame seed oil, black sesame thing. You can donate that. Saturn can also be linked with anything black. So black cloth in some cases to the gods outside the temple and all that. They do that. Guardian deities outside temple. Bhairava is getting a black cloth and all that can happen. Sometimes with Saturn, you can also link with your own time actually, just supporting your volunteering in a temple, serving in a temple, so forth, cleaning
Old age.
utensils, old age, yeah, supporting old age
Like
people.
maybe I will say, arranging for chairs and all for comfortness of other people and all. Standing in the queue, sometimes, they will put
Yeah,
chairs and all, maybe
yeah,
just to make them to sit comfortably for local
yeah,
people and all.
yeah. So Saturn is old age, supporting old age people, for sure. Supporting the Saturn is also interestingly linked with slippers also. You can donate slippers also in a temple. Some people do that. So like you said, the if your slippers are getting stolen, how do you get better karma? You go and put some slippers outside for random people to take from a temple, right? That can also be done. Same thing. Yeah, someone else is taking away your karma, but someone else is getting a slipper to walk if their slippers are stolen or whatnot. That kind of thing can be done. Saturn is also oil. So sesame seed oil, as I mentioned, usually that's more oil. Different oils have their own thing. Well, at least sesame seed oil is Saturn. That's one thing. Saturn also, I would say, sometimes cleaning the temple, serving the temple, being things, removing trash and so forth in a temple. All that can be linked with Saturn energies also. A very powerful remedy. So like if you do anything in a temple, you are improving that bigger energy field, bigger blessings will come in your life and your family also, without doubt. Now, what about Rahu in the 12th house? What kind of thing can be donated with Rahu in the 12th house?
See, Rahu is again maybe some technical stuff and all. Maybe so I will also put some technical stuff, same as your Mercury thing and all.
Mm-hmm.
Some technicalities, as well as it says that Saturn is, or Rahu is very similar to Saturn too. So maybe again cleaning and all those things that also can be done,
Yeah.
especially. And something like logistics, maybe helping the temple authorities in some maintaining the logistics, because Rahu is very good in,
Mm-hmm.
we all know the story of Swarabhanu and how his
Right.
plans and all his execution and all. So
Right.
especially some executive things and all, if you can be there with some temple officials and giving your service there,
Yeah.
can be an helpful too.
Yeah.
Other than that, what is Rahu? So those things, and again, Rahu is also disabled. No?
Mm-hmm.
Saturn, they say, and Rahu is also like disabled. So facilities, maybe what is that, wheelchair and all you can do,
Mm-hmm.
maybe.
Yeah.
And some sort of that, even donations to for, because there are some temples who are like, who treat these disabled people and all.
So yeah. Uh-huh.
So maybe donation to that can also be possible, either for Saturn or for Rahu.
Yeah.
Because for Rahu, they say that donation to some disability services and all that can be done too.
Yeah.
Many times you could read that. So that can be done.
Yeah.
So those things probably. And of
Yeah.
course, Rahu is also connected with the Urad Dal again, same as Saturn. So
Right.
black
So, yeah.
lentils.
Yeah, black candles. Yeah. So I would also add incense stick or smoke thing, right? So smoke things, the dhoop
Maybe
and
that
all
will
that.
be like Ketu. I don't know, because
Rahu, both Rahu and Ketu, I would add that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Rahu is smoke also. Ketu is also smoke. That is also true. Rahu can be Chandan, sandalwood. That's also one more thing I would add. I would also add agarbatis, incense sticks, the smoke things with Rahu and Ketu both. I would also add with Rahu camphor also. Camphor can be added with Venus also, to be frank. Camphor is good for Venus donation. Rahu, I would also add technology, technical thing also. Technology, you're handling social media for a temple order, right? So things like that.
Yeah,
That kind of thing
yeah.
can also be good. Media kind of thing.
Web development, web page development these days.
Web and all that, sure, any kind of internet thing in general with temple and all that, you might see it eventually giving you results. Even if you write a blog about temple, you are still getting some karma with regard to, you are improving your Rahu karma through that particular energy in general. Of course, the big thing with Rahu is that which sign is Rahu placed in, that also plays an important role. So you might have to add in that additional planet, that sign lord, that drishti, all that needs to be accounted for Rahu when you're doing the Rahu donation. So Rahu donation should be done along with that sign lord Garage donation also. something I would encourage in general, something to think about. Now, what about Ketu in the 12th house? Ketu in the 6th house, Ketu in the 12th house. What kind of donation can be done?
The Ketu is Moksha Karaka, so meditation centers, maybe in temple,
Right.
maintaining that, teaching some yoga,
Mhm.
meditation, spiritual practices.
Yeah.
That can be very helpful for Ketu.
Yeah.
Okay. And as you said, connecting, giving the incense sticks and all those smoky things.
Right.
Of course, we are not saying to create air pollution, but at least,
Well, at least inside a temple, right? Yeah.
yeah.
And given to the offering and all that to God and goddess. So yeah. Yeah.
Correct. Especially more like helping people out with some devotional practices and meditation and spirituality.
Right.
That's what will be my point with Ketu.
Right. I would say also with Ketu, you can donate flag. Flag is Ketu.
Yeah, hoisting the flag of the
Hoisting
temple.
the flag. Yeah. Rahu and Ketu is also linked with the roof. So fixing the roof of a temple is also that, in my opinion. Jupiter is actually Tulabharam, weight and all that, weighing things and so forth. Also, you can donate with Jupiter. With Ketu, I would also say the ash also, Bhasma actually. Sometimes you can donate Bhasma actually in some temples and all that. So that is also a very good thing to donate. That also I would encourage. Ketu is also very good with regard to what do you call it? Spiritual practices, as was mentioned. However, I would also say texts, spiritual texts which are more tougher, for lack of a better word. So more esoteric texts and so for donation, those texts can be strong with Ketu. Ketu, I would also encourage, just like Rahu, Ketu is also snake. So donating wire and all that, copper wires and all that, that can thing also be Ketu. Rope for Rahu and Ketu also is one more donation I can encourage. Rope for Rahu, Ketu. That's also one more thing. Any forms of snake-like thing, well, there is a wire or anything like that, that kind of thing also I would encourage. Anyway, so this is what we had to talk about. So this, again, we covered a lot of different ideas in today's talk. In this video, we covered we just finished off with the remedies of the grahas in various houses and so forth. But initially we started by talking about how temples are karma removal mechanisms actually. If you observe it like that, you can get a lot out of it. We looked also at what kind of temples can be close to your homes and so forth, and the impact of that, how that is also linked with your own karmas. The temple of a land is also linked with your karmic energy of in a particular land. We also talked about what kind of omens and so forth to think and pay attention to with regard to when you go to a temple. And then we also talked about what the BCP progression with regard to each temple visits. The first time you go to a temple, what's the second time and so forth. Do you know what kind of karmas, which time you might, which visit is going to have more challenges and so forth, can be observed like that as well. That kind of aspect also. So things like that. Now, so this is what we had. Any final thoughts, Aditya, before we close the video?
Yeah, actually, I was just trying to understand. You talked about the planet, you talked about the houses, but what is the role of D4 chart? Because D4 chart is also connected to the land, home, property.
Right.
How that effect will play? That's my first question.
That's a very good point. So the D4 chart, D4 chart is the divisional chart linked with our home and residency. So therefore, the planet on the Lagna and the fourth house of the D4 chart, or the planet in the seventh house, 1 for 7 houses of the D4 chart. I would even say 10th house also, to be frank. The planets in Kendras of the D4 chart, those kind of temples are more likely to be around your home. Now, could be that that temple is not closest to your home, but finding that particular God's energy closest to your home. I mean, could be that close, can be like even 10 kilometers away also. Even that temple would have a very strong link with your home. That's also one more thing to identify. So say you are in Mumbai, Siddhivinayak is like, you have Ketu on the Lagna of your D4 chart. Good chance you can say Ganesha temple is close to your home. That could still work out. You're on the land where a big Ganesha temple is there. That kind of thing can be said. So so D4 chart, the first house, planets in the first house or the fourth house definitely will impact your residency thing. So if you have certain grahas there, immediately you can say temples or those gods should be there. Same thing I would even say planet in the seventh house, because seventh house planet is aspecting the first house. Therefore, you can say The planet in the 7th house, temples also could be close to your home. The 10th house is also aspecting, planet in the 10th house, planet is also aspecting the 4th house. For that graha will also be, that gods or goddess temples can also be seen close to your home. That is also one more way I would say. So D4 chart, the Kendra signs in the D4 chart, those temples can also be very strongly linked with your residencies and so forth also is one more thing. Now in the D4 chart, standard thing they say is that if you have a malefic planet in the Lagna or the 4th house or malefic planet linkage, it will separate you from your homeland. So then when you go to these the Saturn Mars kind of deity temples like Kali temple, Durga or Hanumanji temple and all that, the slowly that D4 energy will slowly get better. The residency, the Sukhabhava kind of thing as it's called, the feeling comfortable in your own home energy will get better also. So that is also as a remedy also. So that visiting those temples in the D4 chart would also be a very powerful remedy in terms of getting your own home, getting properties and so forth also, in my opinion. So D4 chart, that's a very good point. So D4 chart can be extended. The same logic can be extended to divisional charts also, other divisional charts. So in your D10 chart, the Chandra chart, the planets in the Lagna or the 4th house of the D4, D10 chart also could be indicating the karmas at your workplace, the closest temples to your workplace and all that, which you might see happening also.
Oh, okay. And the other interesting thing which I was thinking is we are talking about temples and all. And a big temple is going to inaugurate soon in India in the month of January about the Ram temple in Ayodhya.
That's correct. Yeah.
So now when you say about those points, and the inauguration is set up on 22nd Jan 2024, correct?
Right.
If you see the news and all.
Right.
So now they're opening a Ram temple, or they're inaugurating the Ram temple after so many years. They
That's
say,
correct. Yeah.
So what type of energy can come in there, because Ram is connected to sun.
That's correct.
And
That's a very good point.
And I was just thinking, sun energy, probably. And then I was like, why they chose the date as 22nd Jan? Now, 22nd Jan, as we know, is very interesting because the sun is in the last few degrees of Uttarashara. So Abhijit Nakshatra, that's one thing.
Without a doubt.
So that's one thing probably.
Yeah.
And then I was looking, if you see the chart, I don't know what time they are going to inaugurate and all. I also don't know. But let's put if you put the chart of that day, I was just checking the chart of that day. It looks that the sun is in Abhijit Nakshatra, Abhijit degree of the Uttarashara at around, I think it is around 8 degrees, 9 degrees, around 9 degrees, 28 minutes, so around 10 degrees of Uttarashara on that day, 24th of Jan. And the moon is exactly... Moon is exactly at Punarvasu Nakshatra, which is the nakshatra of Lord Ram. So Lord Ram's, in fact, it's the birthday of, monthly birthday of Lord Ram, probably.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether they have chosen, I don't know, maybe because of that reason.
That's a very good thing. In fact, this should be a separate video. We might end up making a separate video at some point in the future. But for the sake of the question, excellent point, Aditya. I cannot say that enough. What will happen is that the land of India is getting a big sun temple. A sun energy temple is what is happening. Technically, astrologically, that is what is actually happened. Because Vishnu Avatar linked with the sun, his temple, a huge temple, is being inaugurated by the leader of the country, which is the sun and also pro. Without a doubt, you can say sun energy is going to increase in India like anything. So that self-identity will become more stronger. The prominence will become more stronger. They are having their unique identity and individuality will become much more stronger for India without a doubt. So, of course, India will have its own dashas and karmas and all that. But just by the fact that a temple of Lord Ram is there, immediately you can say that is also getting activated. In fact, Punvasu Nakshatra will also be active. Now, first, the other point which you mentioned was Uttarashada Nakshatra. So, Uttarashada Nakshatra is where the sun will be. So, it's the sun, the Lord Ram is carrying the sun energy, and that sun is in Uttarashada Nakshatra. So, any kind of battle energy which India might have in the future, definitely they'll end up winning in the end. If you have your own battle, go pray to this, go to this temple, make a prayer, you'll see your prayers are getting answered in a battle way. Any legal thing, government issues, battle you want to win, you can go to a temple, you make a prayer, you'll see it's getting fulfilled. So same thing for India itself, you'll see that land where this temple is getting built, which is India, there will be more improvement and so forth, all that. So without a doubt, sun will improve. Recognition will improve, wealth will improve also. Now, the nakshatra is Punvasu. Punvasu is return to the home, but return of light also. So, big return of light energy is going to happen with India. Without a doubt, you can say that. Now, return of light, what it could mean? A lot of wealth will come back, a lot of wisdom will come back, a lot of big Jupiter energy will come back, actually. Purnima is a return of light. So a lot of people will now, to be frank, this might even inspire a lot of people abroad India to come back to India also. I'm just saying, Purnima is because return of light energy is coming, of course. If they are direct sun, moon energy interacting with the Purnima and all that, sometimes that can also be a trigger point, actually. So that'll be interesting to see, like a return of light. So right now, we have this distributed light of a lot of Indians are scattered around the world. So who knows if it might inspire people to come when the wealth is coming, improving India itself. It might perhaps that might inspire people to come back to India also. Potential for that is also there. But that's a very interesting thing. Now with Purnavasu, one more thing also I would say is that sometimes treasures that are lost could also come back to India. So it could mean some old things that we are lost and so forth. Some land that was lost before might also come back to India with Purnavasu. That can also happen. But again, because now this is a direct extension of this topic, which we completely talked about, but happening
Exactly.
at a
That's
country
why
level.
purposely
Exactly
I
correct.
bought that.
No, it's a big country level thing happening. So Desha level, India is the land. In that land, the leader of the country is going and literally inaugurating the temple. So without doubt, that entire land will get that blessing. I mean, of course, the leader will get his own blessings, karmic blessings, and so forth. That is different. But the land will get a bigger sun energy thing. You can see that very directly. So you'll see more Indians being more. Now, for instance, if you talk to a Britisher, Brexit happened because they say Britons understand. Okay, we don't care about someone else. That energy, British people understand that. It's a British culture. They are a kingdom. They have the king, queen, and all that. At least that king energy, that sun energy is very strong in Britain. So they're like, yeah, we don't care about the rest of Europe. We'll just do a Brexit thing and all that very easily. Something similar will happen in India in terms that they'll become more direct, more demanding, more sun-like and so forth in general. You'll see that. So usually gold will improve significantly. Government thing will improve significantly. All that you can say with sun, a big sun energy and so forth. So in a way, it's a very powerful way to revamp that energy of that particular land. It has to happen. It's a logical thing. Astrologically, you can see that particular energy significantly improving also. So that's a very good point. You can see that land over that temple. Of course, the closer you are to that temple, the more the blessings you will get. But just by the virtue of the fact that, so you're in Ayodhya and all that, you're more likely to get that blessing. In fact, people from the UP are the ones who actually try to get into the government thing more actually. For them, if you're working in a multinational company, you are like worthless in UP as far as marriage market is concerned. If you're working in a government job, government employee, you are the best there. Marriage market, you're like high demand and all that. So without doubt, you can see that particular sun energy being strong there. In fact, that might increase further also. That could be said quite easily also. It's a good point.
And Mars, Mercury, Venus are all, Mars and Mercury are in Purvashada and Venus is in Mula. And Jupiter is being in Ashwini Nakshatra or in Aries, is aspecting all those things. So definitely a strong aspect in the Kal Purusha 9th house, in the ninth sign. So of course, spirituality and all those, and Jupiter's blessing. So it's also not only with power, but also with something with related to spirituality and all.
Yeah.
The other thing is Sun is in the sign of Saturn too, which is Saturn is a karaka of land, of common people and all those things.
Yeah.
Very unique combination of that day. Very, very, very unique combination.
Yeah.
But I don't
Saturn,
know.
of course, Saturn is very
They may
strong.
have consulted.
Yeah.
They may have consulted someone, I feel.
Yeah, very, very, of course, it's always done with consultation and all that. So without doubt, it's a very powerful thing. Abhijit is very directing. So why is US always the strongest nation? Because their presidents are always inaugurated when sun is in Uttarashada Nakshatra and all that. Very directly, same logic India is doing, but in a temple way. Without doubt, you will see the impact also very directly. Of course, this is a video deserving of separate. It's a separate video, but it's a very good topic, very good thing. Excellent thing. The topics which we discussed earlier before this is a perfect fit to this particular topic also.
And interestingly, it just happened that before we had done doing this video, I was looking a YouTube video on Ram Temple.
Yeah. So
I don't know why it came up. Yeah. I was just observing that before this video. So it was this podcast of ANI podcast of Smita Prakash.
Right.
So she was interviewing this Nripendra Mishra, actually, this guy, and they were talking about this temple, and somehow I don't know cosmically how it connected, and I just started it. I said, okay, let's see.
Right.
And I never, even knowing that this Ram, but I don't know why. Always
Right.
coincidences and
Right.
coincidences.
Oh, yeah, omens, right? Nothing,
Yeah.
everything is part of information. Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Great. Great.
So,
So great. So that's a great topic actually. Great point to end this video on also. Okay, great. Anyway,
correct.
so this is a long video, but again, thank you for all the patience and support. I appreciate all that. I appreciate your patience for watching this video also.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thanks, Sandeep. Thank you for bringing this and having this conversation. Thanks for your time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm glad that we could have this conversation finally. It's been going on for a really long time actually in my head just to make this video on this topic, but at least now I can refer people to this videos. Great. Okay, great. Namaste.
Yes,
Everyone. Yeah.
thank you.